Okay, welcome to Teaching Tuesday. I'm Psychic Medium Renee Richards, and this is Teaching Tuesday on IntuiTalks.com. It's a new way of podcasting with video and a classroom and all different kinds of things that you can do. It's a lot of fun. And that way people can look at you while you're talking. Sometimes that's not so fun. But anyway, I'm your host for the next hour or less. I don't know how long it's going to take to get through information. So this is on I'm Psychic and Now What? Oh, and I want to say I'm 20 days smoke free. And so I'm on my way to no more cigarettes. And this is all general information. So we're going to start at this point, and we're working our way through. There's like 17 parts. It's going to go way faster than you think. So the first slide is about, I do want to say that I do have a reading show on Fridays on Blog Talk Radio where I give free readings, just so you know. Thank you very much for my quit smoking. People in the chat room saying, yay! And, let me share how to do it before I get into this. But the quit smoking program is the Nicorette. And I'm using the lozenges, the little mint lozenges, and it's 4 milligrams of nicotine, and it really does work. I swear. I did not want to believe that it would work, but it does work. And you naturally start to even wean yourself off that, because you don't even think about it. You start to not think about it. Now, I've been smoke-free for 10 years, and then when my mom died last year is when I started smoking again. There was just so much going on. I came home and our friend died. My husband left for 6 months because he died. And the stress, I didn't handle it right, but for spiritual reasons is why I quit in the first place. So I'd only been smoking a year, so it wasn't that hard for me to quit because it had only been a year. And I knew that if I kept going, it was going to get harder and harder. And I was smoking half a pack a day already. I went right back to what I had smoked before, which is really odd. And it does help cravings too. So it is. It's Nicorette, and you can buy that Walmart, Target, Walgreens, CVS, any of those. You could also get it for free through StopSmokingAsh.org. It's on my Facebook page, and after we're done, I'll repost it because I really think it's very good. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is, you can barely see that, and I'll make it bigger. Okay. About psychic abilities and how you know you have psychic abilities. So some of the difference between psychic and medium, some of this you guys have heard. But then as we move along, we're going to get deeper and deeper and deeper. So you predict the future without consciously doing so. You have vivid dreams that have profound meaning or sometimes even come true. You know something that's going to happen for your family or friends. You know when something just doesn't feel right. You hear voices. You've been warned. You read minds. You feel other people's emotions. You get goosebumps or tingling sensations, and you've met them before. Like when you meet somebody, you feel like you've met them. You get goosebumps. I always say the hair on your arms, and I used to shave the hair on my arms for years, is one of the best indications of spirit. And you can actually just watch the hair on your arms move. And, of course, goosebumps, tingling. There's a lot of other things, too. But I also want to add that with spirit contact or a psychic ability, you might also, this is for mediumship, too, but you might also get like flush, a red flush. I get that a lot. And feeling other people's emotions. I think a lot of us feel that, and that can be really difficult. And reading minds, like you know what people are thinking. You've been warned. That one, you just had a sense that something was going to happen. Red flags were going up. You started to almost like maybe have a panic attack. You could feel the strength of it, and it was a warning. And sometimes even you'll actually hear, "Don't go in there," or "You shouldn't go in there," or "Don't go over there," or something like that. It's an actual voice sometimes. Sometimes it might not be. But I have been getting so many emails from young psychic mediums, and so I wanted to go over this. Okay, so that's for the psychic stuff. And it can vary with everybody. It's really different. Now, the mediumship is a little bit more. Okay, now these, being just interested in the paranormal is a real big one. Like, if you're so curious about it, like I always was, and anything about ghosts or what's that mean or this mean, and I was just always very interested. I know a lot of other people have been too. And you sometimes walk into a room and feel pressure, heat, or heaviness, and that's a certain way of feeling. And there really is a difference when you walk into a room, the pressure, and you can sometimes feel that on your eardrums. You will hear squelching or a noise or a pressure, or even your eardrum will start to beat a little bit, pop, from the pressure that's in the room, or heat. And I really like that because very seldom do I really feel cold spots. More than often it's heat and a heaviness, of course. And you can recall seeing or sensing spirits as a child. And you had a fear of the dark as a child, and even now, that's me. I'm not so afraid of the dark anymore. But when I was a child, I was absolutely paranoid of the dark. And the reason being is that everything just would come alive in the dark. It's like a whole show. And it still is, but it's much mellower now. Okay, and you have a very active dream life, including vivid nightmares. You are woken up a lot at night and don't sleep well. I'm woken up all the time, seeing, hearing, or feeling things, and I think that even happened when I was young. So it depends. We're going to talk about latent and natural born also mediums. You've seen things out of the corner of your eye, perhaps white smoke, sparkles in the air, shadows, or other types of apparitions. And my whole life it's been that way. And some people will just see things out of the corner of their eyes. Some people will see the white smoke. I always called it fog. And sparkles in the air, shimmers, shadows, or other type of things. I get flashes of light the whole night. So it depends. It just depends. Every day is a different day. And you've had someone close to you die and experienced a lot of odd things afterwards. And I think a lot of us have experienced that, just regular people even, but mediums, you will definitely experience it a lot more, and it will be profound. You hear voices in your mind that you've convinced yourself to be nagging thoughts or things you just made up. And now that, for a lot of young mediums, is really, really hard, because you have to have discernment to know the difference between what you're hearing that is information and what you're hearing that is just you. So there's two different things going on there. You've pretended to have conversations with animals within your mind, and mediums are often animal communicators, and I really do think that those are actually happening, so it's not your imagination. I think that we really do communicate with animals, and that's actually one of the easiest to communicate with. But the thing is that you can't validate it. It's kind of like with psychic information. It's hard to validate, whereas mediumship you can validate. You've been getting anxiety all of a sudden out of nowhere. This could be a spirit attempting to link with you, and that's very true. Like if your heart starts beating really fast and you kind of are sensing that energy is getting to you, that can be a way that they can communicate with you. And also the red flush, and I mean if like right now I'm seeing lights. Like if your hair on your arm standing up and you're having all these feelings, and then all of a sudden you start to have a panic attack, you probably are getting spirit contact. And even Teresa Caputo always talked about having panic attacks. You hear strange noises in another room when no one is there, of course, and you don't like to be alone at night. Well, I do now, but when I first started, I didn't. When, was really getting into it. You feel like someone is watching you even when you've been alone. Constantly felt that. Even I have always felt somebody was watching me. I always felt like there was a group watching me, and that they were always there watching what I was doing. And there even have been times when I would talk to them when I was little, all the way through teenage years till now, because I know they're there. So that's true too. And you or someone you're related to, such as a child, has pointed out spirits or paranormal experiences to you. Mediumship often is inherited through families, and I have seen that also. It does run in families, and sometimes it doesn't. There's nothing, stuck on concrete. You've had paranormal experiences that you can't explain. Electronics, appliances, lights, TV tend to go out around you. You have a habit of delivering really profound messages to others. Then after the words leave your mouth, you have no idea where or how the information came from you. That's accidental channeling. I like that. And I really think mediumship is channeling. But I think they're saying like in the beginning, when you start. And I really also feel like times when something, it's nothing outside of me, it's nothing bad, but a part of me, a higher part of me takes over. Like when I'm doing readings, it just takes over. And the confidence is there, I'm not shy, and I just want to go, I've just got to get it out, and it just has to come. So that's an important thing to pay attention to. You've developed nervous twitch, and it's been getting worse. I don't know what that means, but maybe, I guess. I don't know. Some kind of weird twitch. I don't know. And you've taken prescription pills, drugs, or alcohol to avoid any of the above feelings or sensations. Yes, I have. When I was younger, definitely. Okay, so, and I have all these marked out. I'm so organized. It takes me probably 3 hours to get this all together. Okay, so we all know this, right? We all know the different types of abilities. Let me see. The clairvoyance, psychic sight, clairsentience, psychic feeling, clairaudience, psychic hearing, claircognizance, psychic knowing, clairgustance, psychic tasting. We all know who that is, Jen Young. And I can't say that, psychic smelling. Okay, I don't use any of the clairs. Any readings I do not say I'm clairvoyant, clairsentient, or any of that. I say I see, hear, and feel, and know spirit. That's what I do. Because I really feel that it can take up a lot of the time in a reading just to do the explanation. So that's what I say. And I think that it's good to know these terms, and it's good to kind of be able to put you in, well, this is me, I'm kind of like this one or that one, and that you know that these make sense to you. But really, in reality, you're hearing, smelling, tasting, knowing, and using the words that other people will understand. I think that's important. I don't know how this got so giant there. Okay, now there is natural or latent mediums. A natural medium is born a medium and has been since a young age, and presents very early. And what I mean is presents means she presents the ability. Like me, I was born that way. A latent medium presents later in life, sometimes through trauma or spirituality searching deeper. And this is very true. They can, you can actually, by going into spirituality, I've known a lot of people who have taken Reiki and energy courses, and all of a sudden their psychic ability and their mediumship ability pops out. So whenever you're searching and you start to open, I think that these are natural abilities that everybody has, and they just come stronger. Latent medium could be somebody in an accident, or even the menopausal medium, which I always like to talk about. But, Okay, did I skip one? Oh, no. Okay, but there's also something else to consider, mental illness. A lot of the signs that psychics and medium have can also be related to mental illness. And if you are a psychic medium, a brand new, I have discovered this, and you're talking to your family, or maybe you're an older medium like me, and your whole family knows, but still sometimes when you talk to them, they'll make jokes about mental illness. And so I always say there are so many things that are so like mental illness with psychic mediums. So what are you going to do? How are you going to make yourself feel aware and comfortable in your own being? And this goes with the next slide, which would be getting a checkup. I recommend everybody who has just first discovered their abilities, go get a checkup. Go get a general health checkup, get a hormone panel done, get for your natural elements and a metabolic rate and a psychological if you can, to convince yourself that this is not physical or psychological. Because you are going to hear this, probably times are changing, it's not as bad as it used to be, but you are going to hear probably for many years that something's wrong with you. And there's always this little voice in the back that goes, is there something wrong with me? I went and got a complete checkup when I got older, and it was just boom. Yes, that's right. In the chat room, somebody said, I did go to the doctor, and the doctor did tell me, yep. And all these symptoms I was talking about, and the doctor just looked at me and said, you're probably psychic with mediumship abilities. I was very lucky to have run into somebody like that. So you need to also pick somebody, a doctor who's very open, that would be willing to look at both sides for you. And all my hormone panels came back okay. I wasn't low in zinc or iron or anything like that, so I was fine. And so that gave me the confidence to know that when people were going to make fun of me, I would be able to say, this is them, not me. This is them. So it's okay, Renee. And so I think that's a good idea myself. Now, menopausal abilities are real, and it's very natural. It's okay. It's not some big deal. And wisdom as you age, and a depth of perception as you age. Deep of perception. No, that's not right. Depth of perception as you age. And menopausal psychic abilities. A lot of women that I have talked to over the years have said that they were very, very psychic as a child. They went to college, they went to work, they got married, they had babies, and all that went behind them. And it kind of got lost. It was always there, but they weren't using it. So it got shoved behind and shoved behind. Then as they go through menopause, it comes back. That's one form. Then there's the form where they never ever had any of it. And when it could be 35 all the way up to 65. When they're 35 and maybe in perimenopause, all of a sudden they notice this awareness that they never had before. And this is an actual thing that does happen. And also, I think it has to do with the estrogen. It plays a big part with the third eye. So there can be a menopausal psychic abilities. Sometimes it does not stay. I have also seen that they only had it through a certain time period and then it seemed to disappear. But I truly, in the majority of women that I have known, it has stayed with them and gotten even stronger if they used it. So this is something like a muscle, you have to use it. Use it or lose it, right? Now we skip, it's not really a skip, but we're going into planes of existence, because my whole deal is that, okay, so now you're psychic, now what do you do? What do I do? I'm a medium. What do I do? Do I just go out now and hang out a plaque and have readings? Or if I'm sensitive to energy, do I just go out and start doing healings? No. not at all. You can give your friends some readings. You can do some readings for fun. But there's a lot that goes with this. So the 7 planes of existence, I want everybody to think about. I have my notes here. The sevenfold nature of man is the reflection of the sevenfold nature of the universe. As above, so below. 7 planes relate to the 7 states of consciousness. Each plane has 7 parts or layers. So in each plane are 7 dimensions. And in those dimensions, there are 3 higher and 4 lower. And they also relate to the energy bodies around us. So this is something as you are working in, because as a psychic medium, a psychic or a medium, you are working in these planes. You are working in these dimensions. You need to know about them. This is just an overview of them. But I'm going to show you, I think it's on the next one. So we have the 7 planes of existence, but then we also, let me make this bigger. We also have the 7 chakras, the 7 bodies, right? But we also have the higher chakras now. But, so on these bodies, the 7 bodies, we have the physical, which is pointing right there to the physical. We have the etheric. Now, some people will show the etheric as, energy around the body. Some people will see it, which is blue usually. And some people will see it as a netting that sets right, that's how I see it, above the body. Right on the body almost. And you can actually see it. It's like netting. It's like a matrix to me. And everybody sees differently. And then the next body is the emotional body, or it's called the astral. And then the mental body is the mental body. And then the spiritual contains the higher mental, the Buddhic body, and the Atmic body. And usually, when you're doing readings, where do you think you're doing readings at? You're doing them in the astral. So, and there's different teachings on this with everybody. And when I do mentorship, I only work with the 4 bodies, or the 5 if you want to also count the physical body. But you need to know these energy bodies that are around you. And up here is when we're going way up. And a monad, I don't know how many people know what a monad is, but a monad is your soul family. And there are trillions of monads, and we're all part of a monad. Now, I will tell you also, one interesting thing is to contact your monad. And you can do that through meditation and working through the bodies, your bodies that you have. But just remember that I have another thing here that I'll explain it better too. It shows the different planes. So here is the planes. Whoa. So, okay, so one is, now, see how it says Theosophy, or, Madame Blavatsky, and I'm not saying it right. That is, okay, good, that's gone. Okay, so that literally means divine wisdom. There's also the Kabbalah on there with Kether and Chokmah and Benai and Das and Chest. That's the work of the Tree of Life. Now these are all meaning the same thing with different words. Okay? So if you went with Blandin's way of looking at it, you would see the 7 planes in this way. Lawrence C. is this. These are different people. And here's the various Eastern designations. And then the translations of what, basically, they all mean the same thing. So when you're working in planes of existence, that is them. And there's different ways. And so, with the Theosophy, or however you want to say, there's the physical, the etheric, astral, mental, causal, Buddhic, Atmic, the monad or the mondaic and the logos, the logoic. So those are all relating to the higher bodies that would be wonderful if we could learn to deal with, but most people don't. This is important to know just for reference. We also have the three minds. We have the conscious, which is the physical. We have the subconscious mind, which is going up further. And then we have the unconscious, and we have the collective unconscious, the etheric plane, the astral plane, and then the superconscious. These are the three minds. The three minds are important because as you're doing your work, you have to be aware of them. Also, there's a wonderful book it's an old book called Simplified Magic, a beginner's guide to the New Age Kabbalah by Ted Andrews, which I love. And really the best part of it is when he's showing the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. And what he's saying here is really, really important. By focusing upon an image, symbol, sound, or color, we become open to the subconscious energies. The image, symbol, sound, or color will open a particular level of our subconscious. It opens us to the powers of the various Sephiroth, which is talking about the tree of life, or the Kabbalah, which also can be related to the others. They're all interrelated, just different ways of saying things. Then we draw upon the subconscious reservoirs to create greater boundaries within which to operate in our daily lives. So it's the conscious mind going into the subconscious. It goes round and round and round. The superconscious is going up into the spiritual realms. Those are the magic and miracles. That's where the good stuff happens. Okay, so people who are doing this work, studying this work, young, you need to know these things. If you don't know about the conscious, subconscious, superconscious, or the different planes, about the lower astral plane, and you are doing work and you're giving readings, most times you are in that astral plane and you start to see some of those beautiful little creatures that are on the astral plane, or the collective unconscious. It will scare the heck out of you, and you're going to go, what did I get myself into? And then, if you're in the middle of a reading and this happens, what are you going to do? You're just going to start screaming or crying or panicking because you're seeing these things, because you're in the collective unconscious, or you're in the lower astral. You have to be prepared for these. And this stuff really gets me really going, because a lot of young people who are or just people who are starting don't understand it. And to me, this is sacred work. Okay, even energy work, Reiki, any of that calibrated energy work or whatever it is. So readings work is multidimensional. You're always working in more than one dimension. You're never just working in one dimension. You're working in several at once. Your higher self is talking to their higher self. You are relating to them on many different planes, because we are all living in those planes all at once at different times. And all at once, because there is no time over there. You really want to get thrown for a loop. So reading work is multidimensional. You have to study, you have to have maturity, you have to have wisdom, and you have to have ethics. You must maintain integrity, honesty, and the biggest one, love, the internal work that you need to do. And every one of us has to come to that on our own. And that is our own inner challenge to come to the place to work from love. You owe it to whom you are working with to maintain your own energy. You cannot be floating all over the place and not be grounded or centered and be within your own energy. You have to know your own energy. How are you going to read somebody else's energy when you don't know your own and you haven't spent enough time with your own? You have no discernment. You have no idea if you're talking to an entity who is floating around in the mass unconsciousness, or the lower astral, or are you really talking to a family member? And how do you know the difference? There is a difference in the way of knowing. And for everyone, it might be a little different. For me, it's set in one way. And so I can feel it, I can see it, and I know it by the way they look and where they're coming from. But now what do you do if you're giving a reading or and you're sitting with somebody and all of a sudden their mother starts to come in, but it's an aspect of their mother, and then off to the right you see a dark tunnel, and in that tunnel is the same woman. So you're going to say, here you are in a reading now, and this person is depending on you. They're trusting you. They believe in you. And what you say, they're listening to. So what are you going to say? Your mother's here, but your mother's in a tunnel. Or part of her is, so you need to be able to explain that. And how can you explain it if you haven't done the study, you don't have the maturity, the wisdom, or the ethics? It's really, really important. And you always have to work from love. Love is the center of all this work. Healing work, teaching, readings, empaths, everything. So this also will work for empaths too. I think it's really important. And also for people who are, and inner work is never ending. It never ends. Never ends. It will go on and on forever and ever. And it's like peeling an onion. You think, I'm there. I feel a oneness with everyone. And there's still somebody who's going to set you off to show you that there is a part of yourself that you still have to come to terms with. You still have to deal with the energy of it. Now, why am I reacting the way I am? And you have to be honest with yourself. And I make notes. I've got notes everywhere. Why is this, da-da-da-da. And that's how my mind works. Why am I reacting this way? Why am I feeling this way? What is it about them that they're trying to show me about myself? And what do I need to learn from that? And it goes on and on. My mind, I lay in bed and my head, was pointed north, and I was having just a horrible time, so I changed my bed around. And then I started thinking, my feet are pointing west. How west is that? So then I had to get the map out, and I had to follow the map all the way from where I'm sitting, all the way west, which is the ocean. But what city is that? So, because I knew it was the ocean, of course, but I want to know what city it was. Well, it is the exact city where we used to live before we moved here. This is the kind of stuff, see, I can do this all the time. And when I'm doing a Teaching Tuesday, that's what happens. I start here, and then I'm there, and I'm going there, because I want to learn, I want to know. And so that's just me. Balance is really important, too. I didn't put that up there, but balance is really important. I've seen a lot of young mediums start out, and they're excellent. They're wonderful. They are the messengers of the future, and they're amazing mediums, but they don't have the balance. They haven't lived enough of life yet. They need to have fun. They need to go to school. They need to be in love. They need to have sex. They need to not have sex. They need to experience things, children or whatever. They need to get out and experience life. It's really important. Okay. So this is the bottom line of everything. When you're grounding the first higher light body. When you're coming into harmony, the second higher light body, that's what you're using. Clarity, the third higher light body. Connecting, the fourth higher light body. And centering is the fifth higher light body. So, these can also be connected to your fingers. And this, I remember doing this forever. And my husband used to just, let me get my hand up there, he used to just crack up. So the thumb is grounding. So let's say you're out somewhere and you're feeling funky. I'm feeling funky. There's just a lot of energy. Or who knows? You're picking up on something. So, and you want to get yourself grounded fast. You hang on to your thumb. Grounding. This finger, harmony. This finger, the middle finger, clarity. The ring finger is connecting, and the baby finger is centering. So as you're seeing these things happening, you're holding your thumb and you're doing grounding. And as I talked about not last week or the week before with the ring past knot, or however you ground, do it. So, and the importance of that is this. You need to ground, connect your physical form to your spiritual form. Helps you to become completely present through all the dimensions of yourself in order to bring forth all the levels of your soul, mind, and body into the light. Without properly grounding, you do not have the ability to communicate effectively with your higher self, and you must request this to make it happen. So you can see the importance of all this. It is a communication, and it doesn't just happen magically. Centering is the most powerful manifestation of God light you can possibly imagine. It is the place of complete acceptance into the highest light you can integrate and align. And remember, I talked about the ring past knot, and that you cannot pass to a different vibration until you have learned all the wisdom that you need to from the vibration you are at currently at this time. That's why it's so important to do the work, the energy work, constantly. Because as you're doing it, you are using that ring past knot to go to different levels and dimensions and planes of existence within your own field. Your field is huge. This is the frequency which allows self to align into God's self through all layers of being. That's profound, and it works, because that's what I use. This is what I do, and I do it all the time. And I'm asking constantly to be grounded, to come into harmony, to have clarity, to be connected. And when I'm asking to be connected, I'm asking to be connected to my higher self and my soul self. And when I'm centering all my energy, all my bodies and chakras, and I'm bringing all that energy in very, very tightly to the center, to the Antakarana. Oops. So there's a lot more to it than that, but I can't, this is actually a workshop that I'm working on. So when that gets ready and we end up doing this, it's going to be a really great workshop about grounding. Also about invoking harmony and the importance of it. So, why then some people, really, psychic mediums don't even, if you don't want, you don't have to even do it. You can just enjoy being very spiritual. Nobody says that you have to go into energy work, or you have to go into readings, or you have to go into this or that. You can just enjoy your life. You can just enjoy the spirituality. And that's what I did for a long time. I really enjoyed my own spirituality, and I felt it so wonderfully. And the reason being is because I wasn't ready at the wisdom level to be giving readings. I did do a lot of little readings with people, even when I was a teenager, but I really didn't even realize I was giving readings. So, it was just because, I was having a good time, which is in my book, which I'm writing. But, so it is something that you have to make a conscious decision about, but it is an important decision also. And if you're going to give readings and or even do energy work, you need to be grounding the physical form, your spiritual form, into your physical form. They need to be connected, and you need to feel that through all levels of yourself. As you stay in divine harmony, through your own inner I Am presence is constantly directing us into the perfect situation we need to experience to stay in perfect harmony with our God light. We need to constantly draw our activities forward from the God flame within our own heart for them to be harmoniously expressed. This is the process of working in God light. So I prefer to work, this is the light that I work from. And I honestly believe that that being clairvoyant with the clear seeing is part of this. And how do you become clear seeing is through this process. And the process is grounding, harmony, clarity, connecting, and centering. Those are the processes that are so important. So that is all I have for you today, and actually it goes so much faster than I think. It takes so long to put together, and then it's just like, boom, there it goes. And thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate it. And I do mentorship, even though I am totally full right now, and there's no way. I do have a waiting list, but I'm putting together a workshop, and I'm going to be doing that. My website is www.psychicmediumreneerichards.com, and please join me every Tuesday or every other Tuesday, depending on how I can get this done, because there's so much. Between the mentorship, the reading, and everything else, all the readings, it's a lot. And then doing the reading show. And then, of course, I have a family. Well, I have a husband and a dog and a cat and a parrot I have to take care of, too. So, anyway, and so the reading show is Fridays at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern on Blog Talk Radio. And that reading show is going to stay on there. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. That's going to stay there. But the Teaching Tuesday is going to be here. And the workshop will probably be here also. And there's several workshops that are all ready. That's what I've been working on, putting them together. And they're all set to go from A all the way to, wherever, EF. And really it's about coming into these, energies and these ways, for grounding and centering and all the things we talked about to bring forth what you really want to do. And it's a great way to clear and keep yourself clear so that you will have a great way of seeing and knowing. And you need to know the difference. You need to have discernment. So, okay, thank you so much. And I will see you Friday. I'm going to do a show, and Chris will be in there screening away. So thank you all for being here and listening to my craziness. And I appreciate it. I'm also going to put this on my blog. So each thing will definitely, follow along together with the blog. So you can see this, but then also the blog will talk about the same thing. So they kind of go together. And hopefully that'll make sense. I agree, Donna, not mother. You guys just crack me up. So thank you again so much for being here, and I have a great night. And I'm going to try to stop recording now and see what happens. But I'll still be here till I end the show. Good night.